Guys, stop. What was the question for today?
For a job.
Okay, so what estimating, why do we account? We're gonna go into that with our bill of materials, but or what are some reasons why we add in extra time? Okay, so the actual material itself. So if we end up, say we needed a full length, an actual straight. You guys can kind of tell this one isn't too bad, but I mean it warps up. And for what we need, we only need foot length, so it's not too bad because we're only using foot long sections. But if I needed a straight one, like we've actually had some that actually do the whole twist. Like this one end will be flat, and if you look over at the other end, it'll actually twist over like that. Okay, so if you end up getting poor quality material, so for material itself, what's another thing that we have to take for when we're, if you were to hire someone to do something, what do they also charge? Not for material, but labor, right? Time. If it ends up taking more time, right, than expected, basically for the unaccounted things. So you try to account for, just the material and your labor, but usually you throw in a couple, you add a certain percentage so that you can account for, oh, well, I didn't plan on this, or like a big thing in construction, you end up kind of overestimating a little bit, so that if you're working on something and you find out that when you tear down a wall that, oh, this also needs to be replaced, that original estimate we didn't account for that. Okay, well then you have to go back to the customer and say, well, hey, we found this. It's going to be an extra. If you already have that sort of buffer zone added in there, it's not going to be as much of a shock to that person. So that's what it is. It's for extra material, time, and unaccounted for material. So what I want you guys to do is grab your bill of materials. We're going to go through the last step. I'll get this set up.
Do you want to switch to that?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so you guys should have all your information filled out. You should have, I didn't end up having it because I lost one, so I had to redo it, but we should already have your board feet. Okay, remember that if you have a question about what the equation is for board feet, it's just located down here on the bottom, and you're going to use this bottom one because we have our everything in inches. Okay, so the last part that we want to work on is basically figuring out the total cost. Now, originally what you should do, and I just want to make sure that you guys know this part, is before you would start any job, you really want to have an estimate, even if it's a rough estimate. And then give, basically when you go out and like assess a job, like going for construction or anything else like that, you go out and assess it, it's going to be about, you kind of tell the customer it's going to be about this X amount of dollars. Then usually what they do is they go back and give a final quota, okay? Or they won't even give the rough estimate. They'll say I have it about, but they won't necessarily say that, and they'll say let me go home, I'll work on this, and I'll give you an estimate of how much it's going to cost. Okay, so the main point of what I want to do, or get this across to you guys, is make sure that whenever you guys start something, you end up having your bill of materials for. I'm just going.
No, that's actually for me to get it completed. So
Okay.
I can pick it up. I'm not kidding.
Answer it.
It's cheaper. What? Oh, this is going. Yep. I know, that's what I heard. Alright, yeah, bye. Just gonna let that one go, Keith.
Oh, you gotta go.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
Okay. Well, have fun wherever you're going.
That's bad game.
Oh, lucky. Okay. Anyways, so before you end up having, before you end up doing any project, really what you want to do is make sure you have your entire bill of materials filled out. The reason why, again, why we didn't do this at the beginning of the semester is because otherwise we'd go through for about a week, week and a half or so in order to make sure that you guys really got that. And by the second day, like I said, by the second day, you guys would be pretty much done of me sitting up here talking about this is why we're doing it, things like that. Yeah, I mean, it takes forever. So what I want to do is to get you guys into the shop faster, but back to normal. What we have to do is we figured out how much material we need per item. We figured out how much it costs per unit, right? We figured out how much it costs per board foot, per square foot, and per linear foot for each piece of material. Now, what do you think we're going to do in order to find this column right here? The total cost. So if I want to find the total cost for this,
Multiply boiler
item.
feet by cost.
Yeah, you're going to multiply this column. So if it helps, go ahead and make a multiplication sign down this entire column, because you're going to multiply how many board feet you have by the cost per board foot, right? So if I have 6 board feet, it's going to be roughly 12, a little bit over 12 bucks, right? Because I have 6 board feet, it costs $2 a board foot. That's going to give me 12. So what you guys are going to do is end up multiplying these across, okay? So that's going to give you the total amount for each board. Then what do we have to do to find out total for all these right here? Add them, right? So what? I don't have this right here. What is the board foot for our? How many board feet do we need for our top? 0.194. Okay. What about for our handles? How much? What's it?
1.11.
1.11. Our handle is
Oh, wait, the handle is 0.194.
okay. We say
I don't know what the top is.
handle is 0.194. Who has the top?
Never did the top, we didn't figure that out.
Okay. Well, you got the dimensions.
No, I didn't.
You can do anything with the top.
Oh, right damn quick.
Okay. Well, let's do that quick.
Yeah. Can I go too?
Or halftime.
You're watching me biology. This girl broke down in single
Okay. So what's the? How many board feet are in the top? All right. So we're cutting into time. If I have 3/4 of an inch, right, for thickness, the width is 13.875. Length is 25 1/4. That's our finished dimension. This is our rough dimensions. What's that? 2.6. All right. So what you're gonna do is, like I said, you're gonna end up adding these all across. So this is gonna be what? If I had 2.6 times by 2.05. So the total cost for my top is going to be $5.33, right? If I have my handle, 0.194 multiplied by $2.05, that's going to give me $3.40, right? So if you guys can see this, Kyle, you have 39 cents and 77 hundredths of a cent, right? So we don't have hundredths of a penny, so that's just 40 cents, right? So what you would do is add those all up. That's going to give you your subtotal. Now, what we have down here, it said hardware, finished material, things like that. is you're going to add an extra 20%. Okay? So that's going to count for the chain, the hardware, the nails, the screws, glue, finishing material, hinges, all that type of stuff. We could go out and figure out exactly how much poly we have or how much our hinges cost, how much per link of chain. Okay? But we're just going to add 20%. Now, what I want you guys to find out is, or not find out, but what I want you guys to make a note of, that you're only going to add 5% if you have it in by next Thursday. So what that means that if you bring your money in by next Thursday, so before spring breaks, instead of adding the 20%, you're only going to add the 5%. The week after spring break, so that Friday after spring break, if you bring your money in before then you have to add only 10%. Yeah. So right now, if you wait till the end of, basically, if you want to pay the full 20%, that's fine. But if you want to bring it in and get basically a discount because you brought it in early or on time, right? Trying to get you guys to get a little break here. Okay, if you bring it in by next Thursday, instead of doing the 20%, you only have to do the 5%. So pretty much, the moral is the sooner you bring in your money, the less you have to pay. Right? Does that make sense? Okay.
Got it.
Right. Got it? All right. So, what you're going to do, simple back to math. You guys know how to add percentage?
Yes.
Yeah. What do we have to do? So let's give this example since you guys are so talkative. If I have 20 bucks and I want to add 20% to that, what would I end up multiplying by? 0.2 or 1.2, right? I'd multiply it by 1.2, so I'd end up giving my total because I want to take the full 100% plus another 20%. Okay? Are there any questions on that? So, what I want you guys to do, listen up, is make sure that you have this bill of materials completed for Monday. So Monday I'll be checking this off. All right?